guess we're gonna put it over here. Oh, wonderful. What's up, you guys? Nicole's Recovery Corner here. We're going through some changes. And if you've noticed, the channel is no longer called Probably Unpopular. It is called Nicole's Recovery Corner. I have made some changes on my website as well. So today I wanted to come on and talk about breaking toxic cycles. I am currently in Boise, Idaho with my husband. Let me show you this lovely abode. So the cool thing about being a journeyman carpenter that works for a company that has a lot of cool jobs is the company pays for you to move wherever they need you to move to, if you're a good worker. And my husband has been stationed in Boise for his job. And we got some snow last night. And so me and the dogs are tired of living without dogs. So we thought we would come out this weekend and visit Boise and see how nice it is. What's wrong with you? My dog's looking all silly. It's a beautiful home. This is the kitchen. It's a 5-bedroom home. And this is the dining area. I really love this big window right by the dining table. It's $3,000 a month for this house. But it's 5 bedrooms. So we won't go into here, but this is the corridor where all the bedrooms are. There is one bedroom that my husband had to show me, and I can show this to you because no one's staying in here. This is called the Bumblebee Room. Honeybee Lane. My nickname is Bumblebee. My kitchen is done in nothing but bumblebees and sunflowers. And bumblebees are the way that I follow God. In prison, I got the nickname Bumblebee, and that was why, because I was just buzzing around, always talking about the goodness of the Lord. There's some more bumblebee things, but aren't they just beautiful? And so I truly feel that it is meant for us to be here for some reason. Come on, sweetheart. Come on. Can't go in those rooms, unfortunately. Those aren't for us to look in. And this is a cute little, I love this little closet. I do. I love little closets in the living rooms and things. So I'll show you our area very quickly before we get started talking about toxic cycles and how to break them. Now, I want to talk about how it affects us personally. So this is downstairs in the basement. When you get off of the coast, you find that your houses have a lot of basements. You have a lot of basements. And here is the laundry room. Fallout shelter. And here's a room here. I'm not... Oh. That's a bedroom too. Oh, wow. This is a nice room. No one's staying in it. Doug's the only one here, I think. Well, there's a guy that's staying upstairs, yes. So there's a room there. And there's a little peewee, and there's a bathroom. That bathroom is a shower. We don't care for that. So this is the room we have, which is the biggest room in the house besides the next door room. But here's a room for us, and there's a TV, just the way Doug likes it. And it's got a huge closet, and then we have this wonderful bathroom. And yeah. It's got jets in the tub, and yes, they work. I got in there last night and had a wonderful time. So this is where we're staying. And let's see, I'm drying the dog's clothes from playing in the snow. I've got them hanging right here. But anyway, I love that Doug travels, but I do miss him. I miss him very much when he is gone. And the puppies miss him as well. But we get to see different parts of the world. And since we converted to another faith a few years ago, our faith is worldwide. And it's really big out here in Boise, Idaho. They have a temple in Boise and a temple in Meridian and a temple in Idaho Falls. And I feel as though there is something for us very special at the temple. So we should definitely visit. So today I am making chicken and dumplings. I have a wonderful recipe from scratch. And talking about toxic cycles and how to break them. Well, first, let me just say this. Most of us were raised in toxicity and codependency and dysfunctionality. Most of us were. And I'm going to tell you why. Because most of us are, along with everyone else, we were conditioned and manipulated by society to believe certain things. Excuse me. Anyway, we as people, you know, all we know is what our parents taught us, what our grandparents taught us. That's all we know. We know what we were taught. And now young people have the ability to go on the internet and they can learn so much more. We didn't have that luxury when I was growing up. Man, I wish we did. My mother and my father, you know, they were good parents. But, you know, as I've gotten older, I've realized, you know, I went to drugs because I was lacking something at home. Both of my parents were lacking something as well. You know, my dad didn't show affection to me. He did until I made him uncomfortable. We saw a movie where some woman called the guy's penis Mr. Winky. And I sat on my dad's lap as a 6-year-old one time, and I could feel that I thought that I squished something, but it was his wallet in his pocket. I said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to sit on your Winky." And he just never really felt comfortable being affectionate with me again. And I think it's because, you know, maybe he went through something as a kid. I don't know. I didn't look too hard into it. It did make me feel rejected, yes, but my dad didn't know that. He was young too, you know, so I don't blame. We're not here to blame anybody. That's what this channel is about. Quit looking for someone to blame and take accountability for the fact that you can change the way you feel. You can change the way you are. And breaking toxic behaviors is doing just that. Changing who you are for the better. I have a friend. Well, no, I'll just come out and say it. My mother. My father left her, you know. My brother walked away, doesn't talk to her, and I'm all she has. And, you know, my mother, she slips up and she tells little stories. And yeah, she's getting old and might not remember things, but, you know, my discernment is pretty on point. And there has to come a point in time where you say, how long am I going to keep playing this game? How long am I going to keep hearing someone tell me, that's not what I said. That's not what I said. That's not what I did. That is the same thing as gaslighting. And, you know, my mom, she has said, hey, I'm sorry for anything I may have done that may have hurt your life or withheld you from being all that you could be. But my mom, you know, my mom didn't mean it. And I'll tell you why. Because she doesn't change. My mom is an addict just like me. First it was alcohol, pills. And she's been clean a while, but now her doctor has started over-prescribing her things like Valium, Vicodin, Metoprolol, Xanax. And there's like a huge epidemic right now about that. And she just refuses to acknowledge that there's an epidemic. She refuses to acknowledge, hey, you're being over-prescribed 3 medications that all cause depression. They all suppress the breathing. That's not good for you. She refuses to acknowledge that because she thinks that somehow these medications are going to take her out sooner. Unfortunately, it's going to be a very long, slow, and painful death. Because what these medications do are they bring on the beginning symptoms of dementia. What are you guys doing? You guys are being so good. They bring on the early symptoms of dementia. And my mom's sister died of dementia. And my mother has this obsession with now becoming her sister. Even though she couldn't stand her sister when she was living. Because her sister acted just like she does now. And, you know, it's just unfortunate. You've got family members that want to help you. That want to see you. But I'm sorry, you know, I'm not going to keep going and seeing someone who intentionally doesn't take care of themselves And I don't know what in the world the reasoning could be behind that. So there is some toxic behavior. You know, she'll call me and complain about how she feels. And I'm like, but you choose it every day. You choose to wake up and be in pain. You choose to wake up and be depressed. You're not choosing to come off of the medications that you know are not helping you and actually enforcing and influencing your depression. And it's because my mom has an addiction to benzos. She likes taking benzos and opiates together. I mean, who doesn't? It's anesthesia level type medication. You know, I talk to her on a video call and I can see everything going on. So when I started telling her about how I see it on the video call, now she won't talk to me on a video call because she knows that I'm not stupid. She literally called me back in May. And me and her had gotten into it about something. And I said, you know what? I'm not talking to you. I can't keep doing this. You're not helping yourself. You're driving me crazy with all your health issues and complaining that you refuse to take care of. And me and her quit talking. Well, she turned right around and went to some people that don't like me that are raising my youngest son. And she ended up coming back and telling me that these people were giving my son his Christmas gifts and birthday gifts that I had been sending. Well, then, this was in May of this year, 2022. Then this year in November, she comes back and says, oh, well, I told you back in May, I found out they weren't giving him the gifts because my son reached out to me and told me. And I said, oh, they're not even giving him the gifts. And she said, well, I told you that. No, you did not. You most certainly did not tell me that. And my husband this time was able to attest to it. He said, nope, she did not tell you that. She told you the very opposite. As a matter of fact, she told, I had her on video call and my husband was there and he heard her. And he said, as a matter of fact, she came right out and said it while I was on the phone. So she can't turn around and say she didn't say it or say she don't remember. That's what she does. Well, I don't remember. Yes, you do remember. And I'm sorry, but I don't want people in my life anymore that don't know how to be honest. How hard is it to stop keeping stuff from your child? From the only child left that you've got that'll talk to you. I mean, really, how hard is it? And yeah, I've got these two women, this lesbian couple. They adopted my son who did not want to be adopted. The judge was going to award my mama custody, his nana. And instead, they went behind her back and got another judge that favored same-sex families, and my son was adopted. The boy never wanted to be adopted. He was raised by a mama and a daddy up until I had to go do time. I mean, he's going through a hard time. So yeah, I sent gifts. I sent pictures of the gifts before I ever sent them out. I was told every time in a text message, yes, you can send gifts. Here's his sizes. And then after the gifts would be delivered, oh, he loved your gift. So these people lied to me. Well, guess what, sugar nuts? You can't lie about people opening mail that didn't open the mail. That's a federal offense. So I told my mom about that, and she said, oh, I told you back in May they weren't letting him have your stuff. I said, no, you didn't. And she started arguing, yes, I did, yes, I did. And I said, no, you didn't, and you can't get out of this one because my husband heard you. And she does it all the time. My brother told me she is going to use the people that raise your children against you. And now I get it. My oldest son, his Mimi and I, we tried to have a relationship. But when my mother got involved, that never happened again. She loves to call my mother and talk to my mother, but little does she know my mother drags her name through the dirt every chance she gets. But y'all want to sit back and keep me out the conversation. Well, at least I'm not pretending to like you. And that's why these people don't like me, because I won't sit and kiss ass like my mother will. And that's very, very bluntly, I'm sorry, but that's the best way I can put it. So, I like these knives. I like that it's got a cover. We've got some knives at the house, and honey, let me tell you, it'll cut through this can like butter. It really concerns me. But, you know, to break that toxic cycle, my brother had to cut her off completely. And I didn't understand it. You know, I really, really didn't. And I thought to myself, you know, why doesn't he just forgive her? I mean, she's not drinking anymore. She's not, you know, but she is lying. She is lying. You know, I thought to myself, she's not lying anymore, but she is. She is lying. And she's never, ever going to take accountability for her actions. She hasn't in the 40 years that I've known her, and she hasn't since my brother has known her. And I want the pink salt. I love my mother. I love her with all my heart. I offered to bring her to Arizona and take care of her, but she don't want to do that. And it's because she doesn't think I'm truly sober, I guess. I don't know. And, oh, you know, I joined the Mormon church. She doesn't want to be Mormon. And for some reason, she thinks that if she comes to my house, that she has to be Mormon. So I don't understand what that means. You know, just be yourself. Like, I don't get it. Her church, she told me that she could not go to the specialist because she didn't have the money. And I said, well, do you not tithe money at your church? And she said, yes. And I said, well, your church should be having a fundraiser for you to be able to afford to go to the doctor. And she said, yeah, right. I said, then you need to find a new church. Because I'm sorry, if I'm giving money to you, honey, I better be able to come back and get some of that money if I need it. That's the whole point of tithing, is to give your tithing to the Lord. And then when you need something, he will pour open the storehouses of heaven. Honey, I wouldn't even have to tell nobody I couldn't pay my bills. Soon as my bishop sees my face, the Lord would give him inspiration. Our church has helped us with bills that we didn't even ask them to help us with, because the Lord gave them discernment to know we needed it, so we didn't have to ask. That's a church. That's God. That's how the Holy Spirit works. I'm sorry if you think otherwise. You've been sadly mistaken. Your bishop of your church, or your pastor, or whatever, your reverend, whatever you call it, they are supposed to receive inspiration from God on their congregation. Ronnie Green, one of the best pastors I've ever known, he did that. He did that. He prayed and prayed. And when he had somebody on his mind, honey, he would call you. These people at this church my mama goes to, honey, they don't care about nobody but their little clique and their little family members. They favor one set of people. They favor one family. And that family does all the singing and all the talking and all the games and all the classes. That's how this church operates. Honey, my church don't operate like that. We let everybody have a chance to get up there and give something to the Lord. It don't matter if you're a good singer or a bad singer. It matters what you got singing from your heart. And I could not thrive in a church like that. The Holy Spirit is obeying the commandments of God and obeying the covenants you make with God. The Holy Spirit dwells within you when you make those promises. But if you're not making room for God in your life, then honey, he's not going to come and dwell within you. His spirit is going to be grieved. And you thinking going to church and raising your hands up in the air and chanting them songs over and over is giving you the Holy Spirit. It's invoking a spirit, all right. just not the Holy One. Because the Holy Spirit don't come and stay for a little bit and then leave. The Holy Spirit's always there. So if you've got a spirit that's coming and going, honey, that's not the Holy Spirit. Now the Holy Spirit will come and you will feel it dwell within you. But that stuff y'all doing, this right here, and honey, that is an emotional moment you are having. That speaking in tongues, I believe in that, but I also believe that a lot of people instigate that. And yes, you can speak in the light language. Yes, you can speak in tongues. But there are a lot of people out here that need the truth. And when you become the truth, you start repelling everything that isn't. And people don't like that. They don't want to be told that what they believe isn't the truth. Well, let's look at this. Does what you believe help you? Does it help you? Then that's all that matters. It doesn't matter if I think it's true or not. My thing is this. I will never, ever, ever support a church or a religious organization that does not help its members with tithing, point blank, period. If that tithe money is not going back into the congregation, you're doing it wrong. You're stealing from the Lord, and that's the truth. That is the truth. That is the truth. That tithing and all of that, that's to help the congregation. Yeah, to pay the church bills too, but really, how much bills could that church have when Ronnie Green paid off that mortgage? Just stupid.